This Instagram story system has generated tens of thousands of dollars for me and my clients, and this is the exact system that used by most successful people in the info space. And in this video, I'm going to show you the exact workflow that they use and the one that I personally use to turn story views into book calls and cash in the bank. The difference between someone who's stuck under 10K a month and someone skilled past 100K a month is almost always this, because they don't know how to use the story sequence strategically. Your content should attract the leads and your stories are what converts them, and I'm going to prove you exactly how that works. And if you've been posting reels and YouTube videos but are struggling to convert your audience into paying clients, this video will change forever. Most people treat story as an afterthought, but I'm going to prove you why they are your most powerful organic sales mechanism and how to use it without being too salesy or spammy. Alright, so here's how we are going to go. First, I'm going to walk you through the real purpose of story sequence and my daily workflow to create story sequence in under 15 minutes, and that looks premium and convert like crazy. And after that, I'm going to show you the cadence strategies and the two biggest mistakes that is killing your story performance and how to avoid them. And finally, I'm going to explain you my full story sequence system that I use to convert story views into book calls. And by the end of this video, you will have a complete system that you can start implementing today and start turning your viewers into book calls. So let's dive in. Stories are about your life, documentation, the tough times, the goal that you have, the achievement. This is where you build most connection with your audience. Especially nowadays, it is really important because a lot of people in info space are just selling the dreams, the lifestyle, and as a result, nobody trusts anymore. You will just blend in with those gurus and the audience won't trust you. So it is really important to use your stories. But before we create a story sequence, it's really important that we understand the purpose of it. So story sequences are used to educate, nurture, convert your audience organically while strengthening your personal brand. They are not just for selling, they build trust, authority, engagement, which leads to conversion. And always keep in mind of this core principle, that stories are a reflection of your day. Because later in the videos, I'm going to give you the templates, the framework, but you don't need to box yourself into a tight schedule or follow certain pillars religiously, because if you do, you're gonna waste time and you will feel like I'm giving you more burden and everything will feel forced. So instead, what I want you to do is at the end of each day, I do this around 8 to 10 p.m. Just open your notes app and ask yourself these questions. What happened throughout my day? What wins did I have? What lessons did I learn? What objections came on a sales call? And what did my clients achieve? Pick one or two main topics and dump all your ideas into your notes right away. And if your ideas hit you at noon, just capture it immediately, or else you're gonna just forget, because our brain is consistently getting a lot of information, so it's trying to forget all the unnecessary stuff. So yeah, just try to build the habit of using your note. And we have to understand the goal of the story sequence. Every time you post a story, that must hit one of these goals. If not, it's not gonna be effective. So what are the goals of story sequence? First, educate your audience, build problem solution awareness, nurture trust, increase likability and relatability, build credibility and authority, showcase authenticity, encourage conversation or action. Stories convert well because they require low effort from the audience, because they don't need to watch an hour-long YouTube video or a 60-second reel. They can just read it from their own pace, just tap it and get what they want. And that's the reason why stories are so important when it comes to conversion. And cadence strategies. This is where most people destroy their reach and trust. Always remember that you can run CTAs every single day and expect to work. I see a lot of creators just spamming CTA every single day and wondering why it is not working. Because you're being too needy or salesy, right? And every time your audience see your first slide, they're more likely to skip because they know that you're going to sell them something. Because nobody likes the feeling of being sold. We have to build a connection first and then do the sell later. So always remember of these three golden rules. First, max 1 to 2 CTAs per week. I would recommend running 1 hard CTAs a month and 1 to 2 soft CTA a week. So what I mean by hard CTA is explicit sell, booking push, or price increase. DM me the word to work together. Right? Urgency, scarcity, 5 spot labs, 10 spot labs. But make sure you don't like this, use this effectively. And soft CTA means to educate, giving away freebies, frameworks, templates, invite conversation by making Q&A polls, answering their common problems, and build the connection first. And rule number 2, mix the intents throughout the week. You can just post 1 or 2 type of story sequence and hoping to work. You have to use different type of story sequence. But don't worry, because I'm going to give you all my strategies in the next couple seconds. So rule number 3, build then harvest. Stories are like farming. You can't just keep harvesting every single day. You have to build the soil, water them, and give them a time to grow. The same way for stories, right? You can't just run CTAs every single day and hoping to work. You have to build the connection, you have to build the soil and water them, nurture them by giving away free values, and make them trust us first, and then we harvest. Now that's why sometimes I told my client not to run CTAs, and they argue with me because they think that, oh, it means I won't get any leads or book call through story this week. But that is not what it means. What it means is this week is not harvesting, it's about building. We have to nurture them, right? We are building momentum, increasing reach, and strengthening the connection with the audience through engagement. And that's what makes these next story CTAs performs better. Even though if we don't get any leads this week, it's not wasted. We are setting up the payoff. We build first, then harvest. And when it's time to harvest, the result comes faster, stronger, because the audience is warmer and more people are actually seeing your stories. And when you get a lot of engagement through stories, this signal to Instagram that, oh, people love this content. A lot of people are reacting or commenting on these stories. So as a result, your stories are more likely to push out. A lot of new peoples are more likely to see. And that's why building this why is really important. But if you just keep spamming CTAs every single day, it is like yelling, buy now at the farm. The audience can sense that you're being too needy or being too salesy. And as a result, people stop interacting, your reach drops, view drops, and you're more likely to get skipped after the audience seeing your first slide because they already know that you're going to sell them something. So some weeks, don't push. Build this why by posting your lifestyle status, engage them with polls, sliders, quick taps, and that build momentum, trust, and reach. Then we finally post a CTA and we are harvesting from a bigger field. And always remember that not running CTA doesn't mean we are not selling. It means we are increasing the number of people who will see the sale later. Alright, so let's move on to another part, the daily story workflow. I'm telling you, if you follow this step by step, making story sequence become really easy and effortless. So make sure you follow this step by step. Step 1, select high quality background photos. Use photo from your phone. You don't need fancy cameras or gear, but make sure your photo quality is good because we don't want bad images, right? We want to prove that we are running a premium operation. So what I usually do is I would take photos around my environment and keep it in my album, but make sure they look aesthetically pleasing. And you can mix up with your photos. And step 2, add text from your notes. So after you dump all your ideas and you finalize for your story sequence, what I want you to do is just go to your notes and then copy all the text that you have written and then just paste it to your Instagram. And make sure you drag this vertical bar to the bottom because we want the text to be smallest. As you can see here, you don't even need to write word for word. All you have to do is just finalize your text clearly on your notes and then just paste it. If you want to tighten the space around the text, just click enter, it will tighten. And always leave enough space around the edges. If you think the text are too long, you can just cut it and then put it in the next slide. As you can see here, this slide looks really clean. And number 3, add proof when needed. Don't just use text only. Like when you're talking about the results, the testimony, case study, use screenshots or voice note. It builds more trust rather than just the text because everyone can just write out the text, right? So if you show with screenshots or voice notes, the viewers are more likely to believe than just the text. So make sure you add proof when needed. And if you want to remove the round edges of the images, just tap it twice and it's done. 4, add white or black background to text. This is optional, but I would really recommend it because in my opinions, it makes the text more vivid, pop, and easier to read. All you have to do is just click this button and it will change white or black. Adjust it depending on your background, but if you don't like it, you can just leave it with no background. This one is optional. And 5, add arrows if directing attention. We want to make our stories simple and easier as possible. We don't want our audience to think about where to look. So if your story needs direction, just click this draw button, draw an arrow, and you're good to go. And here are 2 biggest mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 1, text too close to the edge. As I said, always leave enough breathing room to the edges. As you can see in this example, the second image looks way more cleaner. And number 2, black borders on images. Don't use 4:3, which is in horizontal format. Just use in vertical format, which is in 9:16. Because in my opinion, 4:3 formats looks really unclean. So avoid using that. And pro tips, take more photos throughout your day. With future story use in mind, build a library of high quality backgrounds. So here's an example of mine. I'll capture all the photos, screenshots, and then whenever I want to post stories, I'll just go to this specific album and then get the photo that I need. In this way, you don't need to find inside your main gallery because it is a mess and it's going to take so much time. So make sure you make a customized album like this and always put the same order. And lastly, quality check before posting. Before publishing, make sure the hook is short and scroll stopping. Pay close attention to the hook because if you don't hook them in your first slide, they're more likely to get skipped after the first slide. And text is easier to read and the sequence has a clear purpose. It hits one of the goals that I mentioned earlier and the viewer gains value, clarity, or connection. You must always deliver something. And you're not just posting just to stay consistent. In summary, story build brand, trust, and conversion. Choose an intent before posting. Use simple structure. Stay unpredictable. Post 3 times per week minimum, but optimal. Post story every single day and always reward attention. Alright, so let's move on to the actual sauce, the templates. Here I've included with real life examples that you can take inspiration from. and some of these are taken from George Suway and some other creators. I fully give credit to them. So let's start with the most common one, student win and testimony. If you're someone who has a lot of case studies or testimony, use this and I promise you, you will make more money. But don't worry, if you are someone who has only some case study, you can use it again and again. Like you can keep showing to your audience how is everything going with your client, like how are things progressing, etc. You know, you can just keep updating them every single week, and you can play around a lot with under this one topic. So I'm going to show you an example. Here, George started with big student win, and he back up with more proof, and then he started sharing his unique mechanism and then price increase campaign. Example, Jace, he's one of the biggest guy in the info space, and then he starts sharing his unique mechanism, and he validate his point with more proof by showing Princeton win, 17K day, and then price increase hard CTA. One that has joined this month has told me that my price is too cheap for what I'm providing. So with that being said, I'm increasing the price. Quick things to note here is that he's not pretending to be price increase. He really increased the price. So make sure you don't fake it. Use it only in real scenario. And another example, George share his student win first close from the organic content. Back up another case study, good content, easy sales, and then more results. And as you can see, he's not mentioning any CTAs either, but he knows what he's doing. As I explained earlier, he's building the soil and he is stacking out proof and position himself as an authority. And another example, breaking limiting beliefs, validate his point with more proof. He's just spamming results. And example 4, proof, limiting belief, and then give away freebie. See that you can play around a lot with it. He's not hitting hard CTAs every single time. He's mixing up in under one topic, right, which is testimonies and case study. He's giving away free values. In this way, the DMs are open up and the prospects start reaching out to him. He's delivering the value first, and then he start building rapport with them, and later the sellers take over and then book them on a call. Another one, breaking limiting beliefs and objections of ICP. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to validate your point more, add more proof, but it is optional. You can start with pattern interrupt hook, curiosity driven hook. An example, here George start with pattern interrupt hook. Content is the worst thing that a business owner can focus on. Bang, your hook. Because business owners are focusing on content right now. He just flip it, and then he start calling out their limiting beliefs. It takes too much time. There's no direct ROI. And I can just run ads, or I've tried and seen no result, and I can just spam outreach. So if you're someone who's running online business, you can relate to this, right? And then he start attacking those limiting beliefs. This is one of the biggest lies that you could tell yourself. He start attacking, and then validate his point with proof. This makes the viewer think that, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, because a lot of people are seeing results. So I should listen to his advice. But if you don't validate with proof, it's gonna be just your opinion. You want to validate your point, use more proof, okay? And then he is giving away free value. You can sell with those freebies, free values. This is far more effective in my opinion, because a lot of us want free stuff. So always give away free values, will make more money. And this is one of the most easiest way to open up the DM conversation and build the rapport with your audience, because you're not spamming outreaches to your follower. Like, thanks for the follow. Are you here for the content or the business? Those stuff, you know, we all know it already. Instead of using those tactics, just focus on making your story sequence better and post it with strategy. And another one, documentation. It doesn't need to be carefully planned, but as long as you start with a good hook and showcasing something shock or desirable outcome. But make sure you always tie back to your system, habits, strategies, and mindset shift. You can either start with pattern interrupt hook, curiosity-driven hook, vulnerability, showing them ups and downs, sharing behind the scenes of your life. And I've also included a lot of visual examples that you can take inspiration from. So I'll not go in depth on this. If you want this Notion story sequence database, just DM me the word story sequence on Instagram and I will send it to you. I will put my Instagram account in the description below and text me with a keyword. Okay, so let's move on to another one, Q&A and engagement farming. One is by far the most effective strategies, and it is really simple. So basically what you have to do is find a good photos, write a text like, I'll be personally answering some DMs for the next few hours. So DM me your bottlenecks and I will send you some advice on what you need. What happened is that people start DMing their problems, and this is one of the best way to start opening the conversation and break the ice. And later you build rapport with them, your sellers can take over and then book them on a call. And you will also get a lot of feedback on what your audience are struggling with, right? In this way, you can come up with content ideas and find out the common problems that they are facing, and then make in-depth YouTube videos. Use it effectively. And one thing that I forgot to mention is that don't use this once or twice a month, or else it's gonna lose its effectiveness. You can either do it with directly answering to their DMs, or just during in your stories with tags or raw talking head. You can make it depends on your situation. Another one is transparency sequence. This is one of the most rarest but most powerful. Especially nowadays, most people in the online space are just marketing perfect outcome, the lifestyles, dream life, and nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, we all are human, right? We all have ups and downs, highs and lows. If I have to give you a real life example, here's Suwei. In December 17, he posted, "I lost half of my monthly income over 15 minutes WhatsApp call." This story sequence could hurt his authority, right? But instead what he got is 15 plus DM replies, support, relatability, and respect for honesty. And even his current clients reply saying that they respect the transparency. And then 2 weeks later, January 3rd, he posts another story sequence, which is 2 weeks ago, I posted this story with screenshots with the last story that he posted. And then we just bounced back into 11K day. Bang, you build massive trust. This proves that you have a system, knowledge to bounce back from lows fast. And you're also positioning yourself as an authority because you can recover such amount of that money in a matter of weeks. Shows that you are an honest and transparent person. So use this in real losses, setbacks, major pivots, or realignment moments when you learn something the hard way. And a quick disclaimer here, don't fake this, only share real moments. I don't want you to lie just for the purpose of building trust, because as I said, authenticity amplifies everything. So start sharing your ups and downs, lows, and be transparent with your audience. And another one is YouTube video launch. Use these strategies whenever you launch a new YouTube video. So the first one, authentic or vlog style videos. Slide 1, show actual thumbnail plus title, not the link yet, okay? And then slide 2, give them context. As an example here, I'm not here to sell you a dream. I'm here to show you the real truth, ins and outs of my info business. There's no one else documenting on this level of transparency. And then you give them the link. In this way, you increase the chance of someone clicking the link because you give them context and you make them curious. And a lot of your story viewers are mostly your followers. They already have some interest. So by confirming them, giving them some context, you increase the chance of someone clicking that. The second one, vlogs specifically. The first slide, show them the promo reels, always in landscape format. And then the text, for example, Bob Bali vlog is finally out, or day in the life of a 20-year-old making 50K a month in UK is finally out. And the next slide, you insert the thumbnail, title, and then give them the link. And the third one, this one is for value and tutorial video. This is a multi-slide sequence designed to convert your story viewers into book hauls. So the first slide, build authority and give context. And the second, slide 2, insert the YouTube thumbnail, not the actual link yet. And number 3, you give them the link in slide 3 and tell them what they will get. As an example here, you mentioned that I broke down my full system in this mastermind presentation on identity, content, production, storytelling, content system, positioning, the exact framework that I use for my clients, reply framework, and I'll send it through. By mentioning what they will get, more people are going to click the link. Because to be honest, a lot of people are just thinking about themselves. And this is the reason why you're also watching this. You're here to get some values, educations, or either entertainment, right? That is the reason why a lot of people are scrolling on TikToks, Instagram every single day to get education or entertainment. So by mentioning what they will get, more people are going to click that. As an example here, right? They're going to learn about the identity, content production, storytelling, content systems, positioning. They are getting a lot of value from watching this one video. Of course, most of them are going to click. Why this work? Because you're not hitting with those hard CDAs and you're giving away free value. As I said, we all love free stuff. And then people are replying you with those keywords. They are reaching out to your DMs, and later your sellers can take over and book them on a call. And this is how you turn attention into book calls organically. All right, so I hope you get some value from this video. I'll not go in depth on the rest of the templates. So if you want to share your personal story, just click on this template. I got the contrary stories, rebel story, time frame achievement, and then hero's journey, mini stories, problem realization, outcome. You can choose it depending on your needs. If you want to share some emotional story, you can just use this framework. Okay, so now I hope you understand different strategies of story sequence. But if you have no ideas when to post, what to post, don't worry, because I have made the posting variables. These variables are tested and proven with my clients. We actually see massive results by following these posting variables. But as I said, you don't need to follow these pillars religiously. The reason why I'm giving you this is to give you more structure, or if you're just someone too busy to write story sequence every day and want to plan for your week ahead, you can use these frameworks. And you can tweak around depending on your day, because stories is just a reflection of your day. If I have to give you an example here, the relatability funnel, this is for warm up, build trust, and create awareness. So Monday, you post them student wins, client results, and hard CTA. And Tuesday, you give them the value. Wednesday, share some emotional story. Thursday, student win. Friday, documentation. Saturday, FOMO story. So if you don't know how to use these strategies, just go to these templates and then you can copy the exact frameworks that I give you. Okay, so that is basically it. I hope you found this video valuable and I really appreciate you watching till the end. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.